So the very first thing you need to think of about the jab is that it is your first tool that you want to execute when you're in the ring. It's used to set up other punches. It's used to keep your opponent at bay. It's also used to distract your opponent while you're trying to set something else up. In its simplest form, the jab is basically you get in your boxing stance. For us southpaws, we lead with our right hand, and there's a couple different things that you can do. But if you're just learning how to jab, the most important thing you need to do is ground yourself into the ground. Make sure that either your feet aren't too wide apart, not too narrow, where when you throw your jab you fall off balance, and if your feet are way too wide, you have nothing behind your punches. So as you set up for your jab, just think of working in a confined space. We're not going to move to the side, we're not going to move that much forward, and we're not going to move that much backward. So as we set up for our jab, the simplest thing that we can do is just put that punch out there like this. And when I put that punch out there, you'll see that my shoulder will turn over, my head kind of automatically drops behind here, and as my shoulder turns over, it gives me a little bit of protection from a counter from my opponent. So simplest thing you can do is just put your hand out there like this. Don't go out like this. Don't try and flick your jab out where your elbow's gonna go out first. As a beginner, the most important thing you can do is learn how to just turn your punch over. Turn your punch over. You're seeing that my elbow's not coming up and I'm not doing this. What I'm doing is I'm just turning my punch over very simply. Now, when you learn how to efficiently and correctly turn your punch over, you can move a little bit of your body behind it. So now, instead of just extending my arm, I'm gonna shift my weight behind my arm as I throw, and then come back. Forward, backwards. Just keep it in one steady spot. And the feeling you wanna get with this is you don't wanna go too much on your toe where your back foot comes off the ground. You wanna be in a stable position where you just slightly move your weight forward. Move your weight forward, and you'll see that my back foot, my heel is still into the ground. Whether you want your heel off the ground or on the ground, it's totally up to you. But as a beginner, the easiest thing you can do to learn how to ground yourself is keeping both of your feet flat on the ground right now and learning how to shift your weight from the back leg to the front leg as you extend your arm. Extend, extend, and you'll see that my weight, I'm moving forward, and then as soon as I bring my hand back, I come back to where I started. Forward, backwards, forward, backwards. Now the next thing that you can do to build upon what we just did is take a baby step forward with your lead foot. So all I'm gonna do is step and shift my weight, and you see that my back foot doesn't move at all. Step, and I come back. So now instead of just shifting my weight without moving my feet, I'm gonna shift my weight, put a little bit more emphasis behind that jab. And as I do this, what I wanna get ingrained in my head as I'm throwing this jab is making sure that when I stop, I'm protected, my chin is underneath my shoulder, and then as I bring my punch back, I come back. Now naturally, what I'm gonna hear right now is that, oh, you're moving backwards with your punches. This is a beginner's drill. This is a drill that will help you engage your muscles properly and your mind so that you understand how to properly shift your weight forward with your jab. It's not a end-all be-all, but this is the stepping stones to building a phenomenal jab, is learning how to shift your weight, learning how to turn your punch over correctly, and learning how to move forward briefly with your front leg and then coming back to the start position. Now another aspect, so we've learned how to throw the punch, we've learned how to shift our weight a little bit, we've learned how to take a step and then come back with our jab. So those are three things that we learned right now. The next thing that you can learn how to do is you can take your back foot with you on this journey. So I'm gonna push off with my back foot, but you're gonna see that As I push off, my foot's still gonna stay into the ground, my back leg. So I'm gonna stay here, boom. My front foot moves a little bit forward. There's more emphasis behind the jab, and this allows you to produce more force with your jab as you're stepping into your opponent or stepping into the bag as you're throwing this jab. So I'm pushing off with my back foot. I'm consciously pushing off with my back foot. Pushing off, pushing off, pushing off with my back foot. What I'm not doing is I'm not just stepping with my foot like I did in the previous step. Now we're building upon what we just learned prior to that. So I'm pushing off with my back foot, and you'll see that my back heel will come off the ground a little bit, and then as I move back, my heel will hit the ground. Sometimes it'll stay off the ground. So as you learn to shift your weight, you need to think that everything comes from the ground, and you need to push yourself with your legs, transfers into your body, into your jab, and you create more force and more power behind your jab by learning how to shift your weight and learning how to use your back leg as an engine to produce more power behind your jab. So if I just step, it's a pretty stiff jab. But if I use my back leg to force myself forward, the jab's gonna speed up and I'm gonna generate more power behind my jab. So I'm here, step, and you'll see that my back foot, I'm gonna step out a little bit wider just because I'm trying to overemphasize this. And as a beginner, you wanna learn how to overemphasize certain things, and then you can scale back from doing such a wide stance to coming back to a narrow stance, coming back to your original boxing stance. So the reason for overemphasizing and stepping out is because I want to really put as much power as I can behind that jab without even moving forward, with leaving my back leg where it's been the entire time. And when you work under these type of conditions to develop your jab, it will allow you to get a better sense of how things work for you. Because everybody's gonna be a little bit different when they start using these drills. Some people are gonna struggle to just turn their hands over because what they're gonna do is they're gonna chicken wing with their hand. Make sure that when you set this up, from the very first drill to the very last drill, your jab is always turning over, going straight. It's not going this way, it's not going this way, it's not going down, it's not going up. You want to make sure that your jab is straight in line with your body. And as you work to build upon this simple drill, just think of doing it consistently on a daily basis to improve your jab. And as you work through these steps, make sure that you always stay within the same position. Don't let your back leg move forward. You want to keep everything on your back leg, move it forward, come back. Your heel's gonna come off the ground, your heels may stay on the ground. I'm not too worried about that, but what I want you to focus on while you're working on this beginner drill for the jab is to ensure that your back leg stays in the same position. You learn how to first generate somewhat of a force by just turning your hand over. Then you learn how to generate a little bit more force by shifting your weight. Then the third way is taking a baby step forward with that jab, not spreading out too much, but I'm shifting a lot more weight behind my jab. And finally, the fourth way and fourth drill that you can do to improve your jab is keeping that back leg into the ground and then forcing the weight from your back all the way up to your jab. If you found this video informative, you liked it, you didn't like it, let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate your time. Have a fantastic day.